Welcome to the Mischief. I'm Valen, and this is Vintage Story, Unearthed, for 120. So I did a little rearranging of some things. It looks a little better, but it also doesn't make sense. I do intend on putting a floor, for an attic up across there, so that's kind of why those are hovering in midair. But I can still access them from here, so feasibly you could have like an entire floor or ceiling of crates if you really wanted to, and then access things that way, but it would just be difficult to even see those. In time, I just hope to have a much easier way of getting up there. I've got a lot of drifters just kind of hanging out, wanting to, well, kind of pick on me. So I'm just going to see if any of them want to come in, because if they give me some of the gears that I'm looking for, or even the flax, then that's just a double benefit here. And having them coming at my doors actually is very beneficial, because then I can control, at least to some point, how many are coming into my house at a time. So for those that are not aware, if you end up putting something into a bowl, now this isn't true for everything, but it is true for a lot of the meals that you make, it may also increase the amount of nutrition that you get from it if you're making a meal out of it. Like I said, this isn't true for everything currently, but it is true for most things. And if you do want to increase your nutrition intake quickly so that you can get more health and probably survive a little bit better, then that's definitely a good way to go. I'm also noticing that my current lamellar hat has taken some serious hits, so I'm going to just do a quick repair on that and move on to the next thing. That being that I want to make a rack. If you're not familiar with this, I'm talking about a vertical rack, not the kind that you can hang your tools on. This is more one for the different molds that you have. If you notice, my inventory has a whole bunch of these different molds. I want a place that I can store those. Thing is, with the vertical rack, it doesn't place on the ground. So, like, I'm clicking here and it says, cannot place it on the ground. Requires a solid face to attach to. When it says face, it means on the side of a block. You can put it above things, next to things, wherever like that, but you cannot put it down on something or just under something unless it's already up against something else. So if I put this, let's say, here, I can then start putting all these in place on that. And then when I look at these, I've got the little tool tip at the top that tells me what each one of these is, so I don't really need to sort through them. This isn't exactly where I want it to be in the end, because it just looks kind of out of place, but that is a definite starting point for at least getting something out of the way. Another something or two I think I'm going to make are going to be some shelves. These are just going to prove useful in general for storing some different things, and it helps kind of bring this together a little bit. It's not quite so bad. You know, maybe I might even move that over a block. Yeah, there we go. That kind of works a little bit better. I could even have something underneath here to make it seem a bit more supported, perhaps, but that's for future me to worry about at this moment. So I think the next thing I'm going to work on is going to be actually setting up some bees. Where did I see them? Ah, that's right. Way out here, there's some bees. And I am going to need a bit of clay and a whole bunch of cattails in order to capture those. The reason I'm focusing on that right now is... Oh, there's... Ooh, this is encouraging. Is that it takes a few days for them to typically swarm into a nearby skep. But I feel like I'm going to be distracted momentarily with the ram. Alright, I think what I'm going to try and do is make a bit of a pit for now. Oh, hello, Rammy boy. Don't get too close to these guys because they will hurt. I think if I look, there you go, damage tier 2. So yeah, and they will headbutt you, and it is pain, more or less. So I'm gonna see if I can make a spot where to do this. Because I was originally thinking of putting stuff here at some point. All you really need to do is just smack them with an empty hand. They will come at you and probably chase you for a while, depending upon the critter that it is. But for now, I think I'm just going to try and make a little spot that I can get this guy to fall into. And here's the advantage of having these rope ladders, is that I can then quickly do this, pick up all the stuff, and I can just pick it back up again and not worry about it. It's lovely to have these on me when I need them. So this is going to be a really small opening. It could easily jump over this. I might make it a bit bigger, and you know, having the extra peat isn't really going to hurt me. Now yes, I could be making a fence as well, or instead rather, and putting it in there properly, but I don't have much wood and I don't really want to spend the time going and chopping down a tree at the moment. Alright. I wouldn't be opposed to it actually being in with the crops, but let's give it a smack and see if it actually... Wait, are you not... You're not coming at me? What are you doing? You're running away from me? This is new. I was not expecting that. So I'm going to have to chase it towards my pit trap. Okay. In the past, these guys have run towards you. Now they're apparently running away, which I guess makes sense. Oh shoot! I don't want to scare it too far because that pit trap. I don't know the exact location. I think it's here. Yeah, I think it's like this. So you just want to kind of aim yourself and it together. Oh gosh! All right. Oh, now it's coming at me. Okay, of course. Yeah, that's fine. And there it goes. Okay. 3 blocks should be enough that it's not going to be able to get out. Is not happy. Oh, neither was I. Boy, that was surprising. I have to admit the change in the AI there of its behavior with running away and charging after you. It's very different. I guess you just needed to get a certain damage threshold before it ends up coming at you. Either way, I now have a ram, which may in time attract a ewe. Usually in Vintage Story, at least in my experience, if you have the male, that often will bring in the females nearby. On top of that, if you have a food trough, that also will help. But if I put one down there, then it has a step to get out of that pit. So maybe in the future. I did have one of you mention that it's worth knowing if you use a scythe, usually a scythe will search for 6 blocks in the area, but you also have to be harvesting a block that hasn't been harvested yet. This one has already been harvested, so nothing happened there. That is one way that you can be the most effective. It will look for the 6 closest blocks in kind of like this sweeping area in front of you. So you may end up getting some other things like grass and whatnot if you've got that nearby. And you'll also want to be aware that it could potentially get some of your unready crops if you're using this in a large crop area that hasn't fully matured yet. Okay, there we go. I have 64 cattails and rather damaged scythe that I've put to use a lot. Now, in the past, I've shown you can make yourself your baskets, which is great, but I'm going to need to take this a step further. That is with some clay and a bunch more cattails, and this is going to make skeps. I want as many of these as I can get. There we go. That should be a good start. I've got 4 skeps. I also have a little bit of grass to put away. While I'm out and about, I am being sure to check my little mini-map markers where I've made for finding resin and collecting a little bit of that too, because I can still use that to make myself the rest of the armor, which I'm pretty much in need of any kind of defense at this point. Oh, and look at this! The pink apple tree has been growing and it's extended. So if you do want to harvest these for yourself, you can chop the entire tree down, and every block of the main stem that you're breaking, not these little branchy bits, but these ones that have some width to them, every one of those will count as a kind of like a cutting that you can then replant and have a chance of it surviving. A chance. You can store them in your chests as well and put them out when you're ready. But often it's best if you have one close to your base to just let it grow for a bit, and then you can get even more, because it's a very low percentage chance for it to be able to actually grow. But I like this. If it's nearby, I might even just be able to harvest it where it is and then just eventually take a few of the branches off and leave the rest of the tree. You can even graft new branches onto old trees. You could have multiple different kinds of fruit trees growing all on one. Okay, there's a bear. There's a bear right by the bees. That's not good. I need to go. I need to go fast, and I'm running to where the bear spot is. It's still right behind me. Okay, it might go down in with the pig. Better with the pig than with me. Oh gosh. Alright, it seems to have stopped. As much as I really want the bear hide, I don't want to die again as well. It's just doing a sleep. I could just I could toss a spear at it, maybe. Yep, that did it. Okay, time to go. Often water sources can be a way of slowing down any kind of pursuers, but in this case I'm going to hide on the other side of this opening. Hope that I don't die. Oh, whew. Okay, that worked. And the pig doesn't seem to be bothered whatsoever. I think it's one of the few things that the bears don't attack is the pig. It might be that it's just attacking me, I don't know. Still, I am going to take this bear out, because I don't want anything to do with it. Oh, it killed the pig. Okay, I think it was trying to kill me, and it killed the pig. I am just at the edge of its reach. Oh my gosh. Thank goodness for spears. Oh, okay. Well, out looking for bees, and I end up finding a honey bear. Lots of materials, and let's see if there's anything. If you notice here, it says partially eaten by another creature. Large bite marks. Creature weight low. This is a clue. If you find something like this out in the wild, that there's likely large predators nearby. I still do get some of the resources, though. I probably would have gotten better had I killed the pig myself. Alright, I'm going to gently be picking off some of these leaves in hopes of being able to better find this beehive that I can hear is nearby. Now, it doesn't mean that the beehive is going to be in the leaves. It could also be in the tree itself, in one of the logs. Usually you'll be able to tell just by looking at it. It'll say something about bees being there. But until then, I'm going to see if I can just slowly whittle down some of this exterior of the areas that I am confident that there's no beehives on. Alright, so it's a little bit more than I can reach at this point, so I'm going to have to start going up. I can hear it. It's really close. Oh, I think I see it. I think I see it. Okay, I think it's just above this. Yes. Wild beehive. There we go. Population size poor. That's because there's very little, if any, flowers nearby. Yeah, it's pretty late at night, by the way. So that's a really good positive thing. Now I can clear a little bit more around it just so that I can get better look at it, but I gotta be careful that I don't break whatever it's attached to. There we go. Now it's really visible, and it looks like it is attached to oak leaves. Oh, branchy leaves above it. Okay, so I think it's fine where it is. This is one of those platform beehives. I can put flowers down here, but it's going to be so far away from the beehive, it's going to be difficult for them to actually locate it in order to swarm. So I am going to have to go on a flower hunt, which, that's not too bad. Alright, so to start though, I'm going to take some of these skeps that I have, and even without flowers, I can still try and do this and get things started. What I'm going to do is start putting the skep in here, and then I'll put another one next to it, and then so on. So you can just right click to pick up skeps. There we go, and now you can see there's a little opening here. It just says empty skep for now, and that's fine. I intend on having this be a lot fuller later on. For now, I'm just making space in my inventory so that I can actually carry things a little bit easier. So, from my recollection, the beehive itself usually has a really good range of maybe like 5, maybe as much as 10 blocks. I don't think it goes quite so far for flowers. And the more flowers in an area, the faster bees will swarm. The bigger the hive gets, the more drops you're going to get. Everything moves faster and so on. So having a lot of flowers to start with is a really good idea. as well as having Skeps really close by so that it can swarm into it. Next, I think I'm going to just take my light, make that a torch for now, and see what flowers I can find. Horsetails actually count as flower. Just by looking at them, they are flowers. These are flowers, and so on. There's plenty more out and about in the world, and I just need to see if I can find some of them. Now, for the sake of space in my inventory, I'm going to try and keep it... Oh, I see a shiver over there. I'm going to try and keep it minimum to the number of types of flowers. I know that there's a lot of horsetail in the area, so that's what I'm going to be focusing on to start with. Sometimes if you get them to start hitting each other with stones, you don't even need to do anything at that point. They'll finish each other off. There's definitely a temporal rift nearby, which is going to make this a little bit more challenging than I had intended to. You can help to reduce or minimize the amount of spawns in an area, specifically around a rift, by just lighting it up with a lot of torches. Now, if it does start raining, that's not really going to work. The light from the torch in its immediate area is enough to stop spawns of some mobs, in a general sense. Not always, but it can definitely help to just make your life a bit simpler if you've got a bunch of light in the area. I mean, one, you're going to be able to see better, but also then you won't have quite as many spawns as you might normally have otherwise. Ooh, I got a temporal gear. Nice. Gaming bugs are sometimes really interesting to see. There's two of them. Okay. And a bear? Oh my gosh, the bear just came back. Oh gosh. Can I climb up? Oh, no. Oh. Okay. I unwisely poked... Oh, the bear is climbing up there. Okay, so don't climb up ladders. Bears can apparently come after you. Okie dokie then. And there are rifts all over the place. I think I'm just going to sleep through the night. That was just too much to really have to worry about. There we go. And just by keeping open your C menu, you can see what time it is so that you can sneak to get out of bed a little bit earlier. You can see all my nutrition levels have really dropped. Ugh. See, now we've got one of these rifts here. Is it still high activity? Yeah, it's still high activity, but without any kind of darkness around them for mobs to spawn, they really don't do much. Oh, wow, look at that. There's another one over there. Oof. Okay. Okay, so the bear is still there. But that's okay, because so is my bear trap. And I'm kind of thinking, oh, look at that rift. Did it just form in that place? It's still high rift activity. I can't see I'm surprised. But maybe I can get the bear to chase me away from my stuff a little bit. Maybe. I don't know. It seems to be head in the tree trying to eat the honey. Oh. Oh. Did it just run? It just ran. Okay. That's kind of terrifying in a way. And it's probably going to drown out there. That's really sad. Okay, going back to bee business, I dug myself up a decent amount of dirt. Reason being, I'm going to create a platform near the bees so that they can actually start doing what they need to be doing. And for that, I'm going to start putting it up against here. There we go. So, let's start making a bee platform. There we go. I think that'll just about do it. And then I'm going to put a whole bunch of flowers in this area. Specifically, I'm just using the horsetail because, well, it's not going to go to waste. So having the knowledge of where a whole bunch is going to be useful for me at the very least. There we go. I had 26 of them. And then you're probably thinking, all right, well, let's see. Nearby flowers, 13. What? It doesn't update very often. It'll update like once every 5-10 minutes, and it may have even updated while I was placing some of these down, and that's why it says 13. You notice the population size now says large, and it will swarm in approximately 6 days. The more flowers you put down, the faster it will happen. So then these will become populated with some of the bees. In this case, I might remove a few more of these bits of leaves that are nearby that won't be affected. Here's another example of some good flowers. Dwarf fuse, or dwarf farts as some people might call them. There's also heather, there's catmint, anything that just says flower. When you are looking at it and the tooltip pops up, you've got your woad. Some of these also have other uses, like woad, for example, is also a blue dye. And you might not think so to look at it, but it's true in real life as well. Oh, here we go. Now it says nearby flowers 26. Excellent. Well, I've got 5 more to go here with just what I have brought with me. I think I ran out of space for dirt to be put down here. Oh no, I've got a little bit here. And that should do it for those. I do have a little bit more that I gathered of another flower type. I got some heather, which is a beautiful Scottish flower that often will, at least in my experience of Scottish flower, it's not necessarily all Scottish, but I see it in Scotland where I live quite regularly, covering most of the hillsides. But just in case it can reach as far down as this with its range, I am going to layer a whole bunch of flowers down here. Now, if you really want to be efficient, you could probably put like a space between here and then another layer of soil and then a whole bunch of flowers between there, and just, you know, keep sandwiching it and stuff so that you can get the maximum amount of flowers in a small area. But honestly, I think this will do it. In fact, how many days did that say that was going to be now? 3 days. And it even says it's now detecting 32. So that's even better. If you're on a server, it's probably going to take even longer. But for now, I think that's fine. This is going to give me some time to start setting up another area for beehives, as well as get some of those metals going that I ended up getting last time. So I'm going to be working towards that wooden lamellar armor. It's not really fantastic armor, but it's better than the nothing that I have. But you'll notice that just 1 lump of fat is enough to take care of 4 small rawhides, which is perfect for 1 piece of armor. Then I can just use a couple for the next one, and that should get me the ones that I need. And then this one I can start using for leather, and I'll put away the rest of the lumps of fat for now. There we go, and now I should be able to tell when these have finished, I guess. Hopefully. I don't even know if they're going to cure while they're on the ground like this. I've not tried it before. Usually I keep it in my inventory, but my inventory space is at a premium, so that's just not going to happen. Alright, I think I've got enough here that I can actually make another one of these bags. Yes, I can. So let me start moving some of this stuff over. Put this here. There's nothing in that one. It says it's empty. Then I can replace this one. Oh, I get 2 more slots of inventory space. Excellent. And because I really don't have a use for these hand baskets, I mean, you can look up to see if there is any other use for them, but I haven't found anything useful short of getting some of the cattails back that you used to make them to begin with. It seems that these do cure just sitting on the ground, so that's definitely going to be helping me out with saving a little bit of space in my inventory. Okay, so now is the moment of truth. I think I'm going to be making a whole lot of tin bronze, because I've got a bunch of cassiterite, and it's time. As before, I had mentioned 1 whole stack of copper, plus about 12 pieces of this will make you about 7 ingots worth, but I'm looking for something a bit more than that, because I need to upgrade my anvil as well. So I'm going to be taking out the anvil mold, and I'm going to also be pouring 9 ingots worth of tin bronze into that. Okay, there we go. That doesn't leave me with very much copper, but I'm alright with that. I do have some. I have ways of getting more. I can always get, if I want, I can smash some from that. But I think what I'm going to do is kind of max out everything that I could possibly get. I'm going to make 6 ingots worth. I'm going to make an anvil, and I'm going to make a whole bunch of different items here. A prospecting pick, a fox blade, a hammer, and a pickaxe. So I'm going full out. And as usual, I'm using some peat just to kind of speed things up with getting to the right temperature. And because this is such a large quantity, I'm actually going to wait for this temperature to reach the maximum of peat, which is 900 degrees, before I end up switching to a different fuel type, because it just takes that much longer for a larger quantity of metal to be melted. Because if you look here, the smelting temperature of just cassiterite is 232, which isn't that much. Current temperature is 1090, but it's the copper that has a high temp of 1084 that I need to actually reach for both of these to turn liquid and start melting into each other. Anyway, this is going to take a little bit of time. So let's have a look at what I've got going over here in the barrels. Oh, I've got leather. Oh, beautiful. Okay, I don't think I have any over here yet. I've got some soaked hide that seems to be ready. And I've got these two barrels here, which are going to be ready within the next day, and I can start putting a whole bunch of huge soaked hides together into one big batch. But for now, I think I will take this very gladly and start making a little bit more space in my inventory. There we go. Leather backpack. It does take 2 of each, so I can only make 2, but that's fine because I currently have 2 linen sacks that I can work with. The rest I can use for other stuff. As these are 3 slots each, the first one is empty, so I can just do this. Then because these are 6 slots, which is an entire row up here, just move everything up to the next one here, and I should be able to switch this out. Yep, empty. Oh, look at all that space. I feel like I've doubled my inventory space. So another thing that I'm going to be working on while I'm waiting for this is I'm going to steal, let's see, one of these here, because I'm trying to avoid using the charcoal that I have currently made up, if I can avoid it, because I can get the brown coal practically for free. And that is, I'm going to smelt this into a chisel. I already have one, but I've used it a little bit, and I need a full chisel so that I can actually reclaim this copper anvil back into more copper. Now this is me just planning ahead. I don't plan on actually doing that until I've actually got the new anvil ready and in place, but for the time being it's not a bad idea to have this up and ready to go. Oh, and as an aside, if you don't want your shield for the time being, you can also store it in a vertical rack as well. Oh, and you know, there's something else I've been wanting to make, and that's a fruit press, which is going to require a rod of some sort. I think that that's just 1 ingot's worth, so I might do that immediately after this as well, since I'm waiting to make some more. Right, and now for one of those copper rods. Let's see here. Alright, so let's see if I can put this together. I think I've got all the ingredients that I need in my inventory here. A little bit of resin, some fat, I just need that copper rod, and I now have a fruit press. And just about the same time I have this done and ready. I'm just going to put my fuel away so that I don't end up wasting that. And now to pour out some of this stuff here into all the molds. I'm going to start with the anvil mold. That's probably the most important one for me. That and the hammer, because my other hammer is just about busted. There we go, 9 ingots worth. Now the hammer. And then I'm also going to do the pickaxe because I'm going to need to break some higher tier materials. Having a better weapon is going to be important. Doesn't hurt to have a prospecting pick that'll actually last longer. And then the rest is all going to be into ingots so that I can convert it into whatever I want later on. So that will take some time to cool for all those ingots and everything. But I have a use for this bucket for now. And I'm going to want to make a new barrel, so let me get another barrel quick. This barrel is going down in my cellar, as I intend on having some fermented juice going on in there. Fermented, that's right. It's going to last a little bit longer than usual, but I will need to put a bucket. Just right-clicking under here, under the fruit press will work. You can see it's got a whole bunch of information at the top. Now, along my journey, on the way back to base, I found a whole lot of cranberries. In fact, that's good for 2 days. I'm going to take all of this and kind of make what I can into juice. So in this case, I'm just going to right click to add fruit. That produces 1.25 liters of cranberry juice. Oh, that's not good. I don't want quite so much. I'm just going to right click at the top here, manually compress some of this and squeeze it into the bucket. and you'll start seeing that it is producing a little bit from that. Mash produces is dropping as it squishes this stuff. There we go. I now have dry cranberry mash. Just by right-clicking again, it rewinds, and I can pull this out, and I have this, which is good for feeding animals if you have any to feed. I do have a ram, so I could feed it to him, but that's not really going to be beneficial. Mostly feeding animals is for having them, well, basically mate. And I don't have anything for him to mate with. But if I take an empty hand and I grab this, I now have 2.5 liters of cranberry juice. I plan on doing this with more than just this one little bit. I just had too much in there. I didn't want to overflow the bucket. So I can just dump it in there. And if I click on here, it'll say it'll turn into 2.5 liters of cranberry wine after 7 days of sealing. And I'm thinking wine sounds fine to me. There we go. I just needed to put enough in there until it says mash produces 10 liters of cranberry juice. I got a little bit confused and turned around before, but this is what I'm looking for. Essentially, 10 liters is what a bucket will hold. So now, when I squish this, you get a really good animation. And then you can proceed from there after it's done with the squish. And there we go, 10 dry cranberry mash. As before, I now have a bunch. That's good for 2 days. It says not too appetizing, which I think is untrue. But okay, either way, I'll take it. I can then pour it in there. I now have 12.5 liters of cranberry juice that I intend on turning into wine. Now, I could also turn it into something even stronger later on, but I think I'd still like to retain some of the juice content in there. There we go, 10 liters. Put the bucket underneath and squeeze. And there we go, 29 liters of cranberry juice. Now, cranberry juice is great, actually. You can... I don't know if it tells you the stats on here. No, it just says how long it'll last. 7 days is about how long it lasts, and this will start fermenting in about that same amount of time. Oh, fresh for 7.5 days. There you go. But if you have like an empty bowl, which I don't, I've only got full bowls and I just ate something, but you could just scoop it out of here. You can also use a jug. One of these will hold 1 liter. A jug will hold, I believe, 3, and then you could feasibly just drink it that way, and it'll get you nutrition on fruit, which is just fun and fantastic. But once I ferment this, it will lose some of the fruit nutrition that you would get from it, and instead you'll end up getting a reduced amount and a little bit of tipsiness. But that aside, it will also store a lot longer than just 7.5 days. So that is my intent, and in this case I'm just going to seal it. There we go. Now, the good news is that this dry cranberry mash, it is just going to go off. And normally that sounds like a bad thing for it to turn into rot. But honestly, that's a good thing. I'm going to be able to use that later on to make myself some compost. And look, everything out here has cooled off while I was messing around with the Fruitpress. So let's grab all these materials and see what we can make. In fact, I'm going to grab this old anvil, and I'm going to switch it out with the new tin bronze anvil, which should accept things of iron tier and lower, which this is a tier 2 anvil. Copper was only tier 1. And I can just get rid of the old one. So to do that, you need to have a chisel that isn't hot, for example. So I'm going to start, because I might end up needing it, making that tin bronze hammer. Which is going to have a lot more durability than the old copper one that I had, but I am going to grab that because I think I'll need that as well. This plus the old copper anvil. Oh, I don't even need the hammer. I just need to use a chisel with it, and pow, I get 8 ingots back. But this is the cost of 1 ingot. So ultimately I get 7 of the 9 ingots originally used to make the copper anvil. So, boop, there we go. Because it used up the durability that is the same as a copper chisel, 600 durability. So if I had a tin bronze chisel, it would use up like maybe 80% of it or something like that instead of the entire chisel. But as it's equal to the same amount as this, it uses up the entire thing. And now to just kind of goldify, I say that, but it's not gold. It's a very yellowish material. and refresh my inventory with all these new and fantastic tools. Plus a bunch of tins, bronze, ingots that I can also put out here. So I now have a backup fox blade should things go awry. I have several backup items that I can use for a few hits or something like that. The copper spear and the scrap spears are still going to be useful, don't get me wrong, because I can still throw those. Let's see, the damage from those being thrown is 5.75. But now my tin bronze fox blade, it can do 4.5 hit points of damage every swing that it does, so which is much better than the copper spear's regular melee damage. So that's excellent news for me. And with that, I think we'll pause and end it here for this episode. Tune in next time for the continuation of Vintage Story Unearthed for 120.